Welcome to another edition of the Deep Dive podcast with the Chicks on the Right. And today we have a very special guest with us, Stephen Hilton, who is a composer, a producer, an influencer, whether you like it or not, a Christian, and a dad to two kids, 4 and 2, I think, Alfie and Poppy. And you have become sort of this phenomenon, if you will, in conservative circles as of late, because you seem to have undergone a bit of a transition, a red pilling, if you will. And we were hoping that you could tell us about that journey.
Yeah, well, I worked in I've been in the Hollywood sort of system doing like big, massive like films for years and years. I started off making records, and then they started using the records I was making in films, and then that led on to bigger and bigger and bigger films. That ended up in Hollywood doing things with Hans Zimmer and people like that. And so it was all very. I never considered myself political, really, at all, but I all of my circle and all of my sort of people I hang out with and worked with were all super liberal, and were getting more and more liberal and more left. And I mean, I was starting to think there's a few things that are bugging me, and a few things that just seem stupid that everyone is saying that don't make any sense. But whatever, live and let live. And then um, when as I've heard from a lot of people since this happened to me, when I've been talking to people, the pandemic actually was the watershed moment for me. I've always been sort of anti-establishment. I mean, I grew up in the acid house days and sort of DIY music, and it's always been anti-authoritarian, sort of punky, anti-establishment. And around the pandemic, I started to feel all this authoritarian push with the lockdowns, and it's instinctively in me. I was like, no, I don't like this. This is like forced. This seems like a top-down push to get me and my family to do certain things that aren't making any sense.
You know what everybody needs for Christmas is My Pillow bedding, because that is the gift that keeps on giving all during the year. They have the biggest bedding sale of the year going on right now. And they're extending like their money back guarantee for Christmas until March 1st. So you got to get the Geese Dream Sheets, because everybody needs those. I have those. You have those. They have pillowcases for $9.98, which is unheard of. You can get one of those My Pillow mattress toppers for $99. I mean, it's unbelievable. They got blankets, they have duvets, quilts, down comforters, body pillows. I love the body pillows. I love those because I have to like surround myself in pillows. And they just have so many discounts going on right now. I don't know what people are waiting for, but you need to take advantage of this right now, because bedding, you guys, they have the best at My Pillow.
I mean, all of their bedding. And then if you need a stocking stuffer, like you can squeeze one of the travel pillows into tiny size and use that as a really great last minute stocking stuffer. And to get all the greatest deals, visit mypillow.com/chicks, and then make sure to use code chicks at checkout, and you will get the deepest possible discounts. mypillow.com/chicks.
And then when the vaccine came out and stuff like that, I was just not on. I instinctively, something inside me is like, no, I'm not into this. I don't want to do this. Something feels wrong, especially in Los Angeles. Everything was like closed. My kid has got a speech delay, and all the speech therapists had masks on, even when all the other states seemed to be open. And I was like, how's he getting? It's just everything just hit me at once, and I started speaking up just to my friends, going, I'm not going to, this vaccine is weird. I don't know why Alfie has to have speech therapists with masks on when there's clearly everything else. How's that going to work?
I know, it's completely ridiculous. Yeah.
In fact, that was the thing that really annoyed me. That was the key moment. I was like, this is, I don't know if I can swear here, but this is.
You can. Oh, you can.
Yeah,
it's bullshit.
It's
bullshit.
This is totally fucked up. Like him not being able to learn to talk is really, really pissed me off. And then I started saying, people, I'm not going to do I'm not into this. I'm not going to do the lockdowns. I don't want to participate in this vaccine rubbish. And the pushback I got was insane. I couldn't believe it. It's like, oh, you're a Trump supporting domestic terrorist who wants to kill my grandma now. I was like, whoa.
I mean, it's crazy.
I didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always liked Trump. I think he's charismatic, sharp, and I think he's great. But I mean, I was never political, so I never really said, I want to vote for him or whatever. But the more pushback I got, the more I started to research the stuff they were saying. Like, you obviously like Trump, and I was like, well, do I? And then I started to look at his. Because when they said that, I was like, yeah, he's cool. Like, he's funny. And it's just that there's so many people. I just was so offended, and then so I'd never spoke up about it publicly on my platform because I was married, and my ex wasn't political at all. But I felt like if I started talking about politics, it would unfairly impact her because she's a comedian and she's totally all about comedy. So I didn't want to start being political, and then she's forced to answer questions that she doesn't even think about because she's not in that way inclined. But then we separated, and I made one video about how I think I'd seen the Joker, and I was thinking about how in Hollywood everyone's so anti-gun, like in circles where you hang out, people say guns are terrible, we've got to take guns away. But then the Joker, and I was like, this seems very hypocritical, and I just made a short TikTok about it, saying how Hollywood is the biggest pusher of gun violence as entertainment, and then
Right.
on the flip side, they're all about gun control, and it went viral on Twitter, bizarrely, and then I was like, okay, so it coincided with me because I was speaking out against the pandemic, and I just got separated. I had no friends. I was completely on my own. I'd been completely ostracized. So I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I just started talking to my phone about what I was thinking about, and it just resonated. So yeah, I just kept going, and it's been a real journey of discovery. This whole thing has been crazy.
Have you noticed? Because I mean, when you say I lost a lot of friends, like we started our site back in 2009, and everybody says, "Oh, liberals are so tolerant, they're so compassionate, they're so open-minded, blah." And it's like, really? Because I mean, like I lost when we started our site. Even I lost friends immediately when they found out, "Oh my God, you're conservative. You're going to do this for a living. Like, what do you? We can't be friends anymore." So I mean, it's when you say you lost all your friends and you felt alone, you obviously were kind of alone. You were talking to your phone and stuff like. It's just interesting to me. Like, have you found that people have started to rally around you now that you've become? I mean, I say red pilled, but now that you are outwardly conservative or more right leaning,
it's been really interesting. So when I first started, when me and my ex, who's a big creator, we separated, and all of her fans skewed very liberal. So they were very like, I lost a ton of first thing that happened was I lost a ton of followers, and I was like, okay, this is what's going to happen, but I want to speak up. Mainly because then I started to get into the gender ideology pushed in schools, and now it's 90% of kids that are affected by this and pushed into this medicalized system are autistic, and my son's severely autistic, and that made me go down, start talking about that. So all of her fans were like out, and then I lost a ton of followers from that, and I was like, okay, but it's too important not to talk about. I don't care about losing followers. But then, so every post that I was on her platform was like just hate against me, 100%, like hate. And you're right about liberal hate is so much worse. Like they're savage, like breathtaking comments like I've never heard before.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't look at her page anymore. I was like, this is insane. And then what happened was I started to gain, like, more people started coming to me than had left, because the people that were resonating with what I was saying. And in the last year, the really weird thing is that, so I couldn't look at her page before. If there's anything, she has a company posting old videos for her on Facebook, and there's ever anything with me in it, she warns me. She's like, they posted this, so you're going to get. But in the last year, the so funny thing, like about a couple of weeks ago, I just happened to look at one of the posts. I was like, I wonder if I'm still getting this insane hate. And it was 50-50. Half the people going, I actually agree with everything he's saying. I was like, okay, something's happening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So how has
Yeah.
that impacted? Because a lot of people found you through, I was one of those people that found you through Laura. And so because I'd been a follower of her comedy and just, had seen you through that, and then like started following you separately and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then when you became Red, it's been such an interesting thing to watch your transformation. But how did that, because you said that you didn't want to be political or speak out before you were separated. Did you find that your beliefs were impacting your marriage? Or, I mean, if it's too personal, you can tell me. But
no, I'd talk about anything. I don't actually, just because she's so not political. And I would, we would talk. I mean, I'd started to talk about how I was feeling about the vaccine, how I was feeling about the masks, and she was like, "Yeah, I agree with you about all that stuff." So it was. She's just not political. And we're still really great friends. But I don't think it really impacted. I don't think that was that. There were lots of other things. It wasn't that. I don't think.
Okay. Because she's mean to you. Like, we see her videos about you and we feel like she's mean to you.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of people say that to me.
I mean, because I guess it's because we see it objectively, but also, when you look at it, it has become sort of a liberal versus conservative thing, because she has a bunch of people who, I think maybe that's I don't say maybe, but it is unfortunate probably for people who are, because we've both been married and divorced, and we've been married again. I mean, not to each other, not to each other, but we're married now to these awesome men, but then we've had first marriages. Like I call mine personally my starter marriage.
Right.
And then, now I'm married to the love of my life. Right. So but I can't imagine, I didn't have children with my first marriage. And so I think about what that would be like, having to co-parent with my first husband, and how hard that must be. And then to add on to it, this whole new element of, you've got this conservative versus liberal, which is literally what our country is going through right now, which is, oh my God, Stephen, like it's crazy. Like, people hate one another because of politics, because we're so divided. Because I mean, it's crazy how different we are policy wise and just ethics wise on so many issues.
Totally.
And then you add into that, like, I mean, not saying I can't speak for your ex-wife. I don't know where she falls, but I do know that liberals tend to, they could sort of side with her, if you will. And then like you have the right wingers. Yeah. And so it's become this like right wing versus left wing thing with you guys, It
is nuts. I mean, I had no idea that the country was so divided. And when I started, I've always, I'm massively, I love comedy. I'm not a comedian, but I love comedy, and I always like to see the funny side of stuff. So when the Dylan Mulvaney stuff was happening, I was seeing humor in that. I was saying, this is clearly nuts. And I made a couple of videos with just, super woke progressives with a million pronouns, are saying you have to use this pronoun in the first sentence and this pronoun in the second sentence, and then revert to the first one in the third sentence. And all I did was I put on a doctor's jacket and I had a clipboard and I just reacted to it. No, didn't say anything. I was just like, the doctor was confused by all the pronouns, and the hate, it was insane. People wanted me to die from that video. And I was like, what is going, this fun? It's a funny thing. This person is funny. They have so many. How do they get through life? And they're like, we want you to die now for saying that.
I mean, it is.
Yeah,
it is. It's insane.
Wow.
Completely insane.
I had no idea. That people. And the other thing was that when I was with Laura, like I had my odd feelings about BLM even from the start, and so she would post the BLM thing, and I was like, can we not get political? Because I don't know. You don't know enough about this, and I don't know enough about this, and I don't know. And she did a few BLM. So, and then from that, I used to get hate from conservatives. So I've had hate from both sides, and I can say that the liberal, it's no comparison. No comparison. The liberals will come after your kids. That's something conservatives would never do. Yeah.
It is Christmas season, you guys. I'm so excited because it's literally this week, and it's time for gift giving, parties with friends and family, getting compliments everywhere you go because you look good, girl. thanks to Genucel. And guys can use Genucel too. From now until Christmas, which is literally this week, less than a week left, you guys. That's all you have. Genucel's most popular package is better than 70% off at Genucel.com. That's 70. Treat yourself and a loved one to the absolute best skincare in the world. Maka and I love them so much with their immediate effects. You can see results in less than 12 hours. I always see results in like an hour with that stuff.
Yeah, it's fast stuff.
It's fantastic. Guaranteed or your money back. Plus, included in every most popular package is free hyaluronic acid serum for skin hydration that's going to make you look young and fabulous.
It is good stuff.
Good
Visit Genucel.com/chicks right now when you use promo code chicks. Even after that gigantic sale that Daisy just told you about, you will also get 10% off your entire order. And you will be upgraded to free express shipping. That's when you go to Genucel.com/chicks, Genucel.com/chicks.
Yeah, it can get really ugly, you know. And I would imagine as your kids, you know, just raising kids, and as your kids get older, they're going to start seeing more and more of this. So that's probably going to be something that I would imagine that's going to be really tough to navigate. I don't know how. I mean, like I said, with the co-parenting, that's a tough thing. And then you have to go, okay, how do we do this? Because we're in the public sphere now. We're doing this. We're co-parenting. We're doing the political thing. We're doing all of this publicly. Like, how do you handle doing all of that and doing it in such a public way? Like, do you ever get to the point where you're just like, I'm going to go live in the mountains and I'm never going to like talk to people again?
Well, I think one thing I do struggle with, and I still struggle, even though I've been doing online creative for like 8 years, so I'm like an OG at this point, but I still think that I'm talking to my phone and 2 or 3 people are going to see it. And I always go, oh, fuck, there's thousands and thousands of people. And I've said the wrong, and I always get, I still get like so I do see that point. But the thing is that we're so great friends and co-parents that the kids have such, I mean, they're still very young. So that is something I'm going to have to think of as they get older, definitely. And, you know, like even that I'm on my pathway with religion. I mean, I'm trying to find where I fit. I mean, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and I find that's really important to me. And Laura's not like that. So we have 2 opposing views like that, but we don't, neither of us sort of argue. We would never, you know, try and like denigrate the other one for their beliefs. And so the kids, I think right now they're getting a nice, different, what I feel like hopefully is that they're getting different viewpoints. They're getting access to different, you know, frames of mind around stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great perspective. Yeah, because they actually do get they have 2 people in their life that 2 people in their lives that they really love.
Yeah.
And then they can be like, okay, well, he does this and she does this and he believes this and she believes that.
Yeah.
And so what am I going to believe?
Right.
You know, and I think that's healthy. I think that's cool. Yeah.
So
I like
Steve,
that.
I wanted to ask you about a video that you did, I don't know, like a couple of weeks ago, maybe, where it seemed like you were about to, or maybe you have taken a step back from some of the commentary that relates to politics because you were finding yourself going into sort of a dark place.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, or you alluded to, like unfollowing certain accounts that you felt had led you on that path.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about that and also answer the question about, like, are you okay?
So you are like ready to go for Christmas because you got like 3 nights worth of dinners from Omaha Steaks. And so you have to tell me what's going on because I didn't even realize, listen, I'm so fixated on steaks all the time when I order from Omaha Steak, but you got some fish and like salmon and stuff.
I know. I'm just like you. Like I always think, when I think Omaha Steaks, I do think steaks. It's impossible not to. And normally when we order, we get like beef kind of stuff, right? We get the steaks, we get the burgers.
That's what I got.
Yeah. You know,
Yep.
And so this time I thought, you know what, for Christmas Eve, I want seafood. So I ordered salmon fillets, I ordered snapper, and I ordered all the sides, like these unbelievable potato sides, and I ordered desserts. There's
starving right now.
Sorry. There's so many millions of different combinations of food that you can create into your own package when you go to omahasteaks.com, especially right now, because the site savings are humongous.
Yes, people need to take advantage. Do it and get chicks at checkout an additional $30 off your order. Do it.
I was getting into the habit of getting up because I was looking for content to react to. I was getting up, opening Instagram, and just being bombarded with stuff that was designed to make me angry. And I realized how manipulative it was. And I realized that some of these accounts are really, it's like hate porn. It's like anger porn. And I felt like I'm an addict. So for me, it's easy for me to fall down into addiction, and rage and anger are addictive. I get a buzz off of it. But I don't like being that person around my kids, and I don't like being the angry person. And I didn't like, I didn't like taking the kids to school. And I know there's certain kids, a lot of the parents at the school know me from my content, and it's all been cool. But as it was getting angry, and I felt it was getting angry, and it was definitely going to a place that isn't me. Like, I'm really like, I've got my beliefs, but I'm also like, I really value humor. I really value just having a good heart. Like, I always feel like I always come from a good place, but in the last 6 months, I wasn't coming. Some of that stuff, I wasn't coming from a good place. It was coming from trying to get views. It was coming from like me trying to make people angry. And I realized that I don't want to do that. I want to talk about how I feel about things without being scared of people hating me. I don't care about that, but I don't want to put out hate into the world. And the thing that actually made me see that was, I'm in a 12-step program. I'm 9 years clean and sober. I haven't had a drink for like 20 years. And I've got a sponsor who was talking to me about being angry. And he said, what you don't realize is if you put out something that's very angry and hateful, there's a ripple effect. And he goes, you may not see it, but 3 ripples down, someone might hit their kid and he wasn't talking about my content. We were just talking about anger. And he said someone might be angered, and then they might, not because of what you've done, but like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, like 12 hours after something you've said, it made them angry. They might do something. And I was like, okay, I've got to be really careful not to just ever be angry for anger. There's certain things that I feel strongly about, like the transgender being pushed in schools, and I love, I'm super into. I love Trump, and I think that the gun control thing is out of control. These things I'm passionate about, but I don't want to just be one of these sites that just makes people angry to get engagement. And people do that, and I was doing it.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference, I think, between passion and anger, right? I mean, you can be passionate without being angry. And I think, it's awesome that you recognize that. Yeah. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, and we've had our moment. I mean, I'll speak for myself here, where the news cycle itself becomes so overwhelming that, I'm a very happy, positive person most of the time. And there are times where I break because it's like there's just too much bad going on. Yeah. And to know when to step away and sort of have your breakdown, let it wash over you. Sometimes you just need that release. But one thing that Daisy and I have done, and that we're very purposeful about, is that in every show we try to bring levity to the really awful news of the day. Right. And I think that's something you're really good at too.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. You got, because there are good people still. Like there's still good people. There's humanity. I still believe in humanity. I still believe in America. I still believe in there are good people. We just hear so much of the crap. And then it sucks too, because the media doesn't help. The government doesn't help us. The media doesn't, because the media is like constantly trying to show us how much we do hate each other, and how much the country does suck, and how much everything sucks. And so it is, when you do this for a living, it can be very exhausting. I know Maka's told me in the past, she's like, sometimes I just need to go and have a good cry.
Yeah. Right.
And then I just feel better. Yeah. And it's true. However you need to deal with it and have your release, and then come back and go, you know what? We At the end of the day, when I go to my little Dollar General down the street in my little small town, I encounter wonderful people.
Yeah,
People are good.
that's
They're
right.
they're genuinely good.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how we are. Humanity's good. It's just that all the crap that surrounds us kind of is what makes us bad, right?
yeah,
It's our environment. It's all the
totally.
other shit.
Yeah,
So
it's
is this impacting your career? The fact that you're, I mean, because you've done some major composition work for some huge
Totally.
blockbuster films. How has like this transformation of you affected, if at all, your career?
well, I mean, what I stopped. The really bizarre thing is when we started when Laura started making content. So um, she was an actress and I was scoring films, and she was constantly depressed about auditioning and not getting roles. And I was going down Sunset one afternoon, and I saw these billboards for YouTube, and I just saw like a YouTuber and a follow account. That's all they had. They had a big campaign. I was like, wait, Laura would be really good at this. So I sort of encouraged her to post content. Cut a long story short, she started doing it. It blew up, and it was such a success so quickly that I stopped movies. I had a lull in movies anyway, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to jump over here and do this because it's super exciting. We were newly together. It was just an amazing time, and everything was just blowing up. And so I really stopped doing film soundtracks for the last sort of 7 years, where we were building this production company. But now, being separated, I mean, I'm still helping out with it with the production side, but I am getting back into movies slowly but surely. I'm going to start.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm working with people that I used to work with, English people right now. But yeah, it's so I'm going to be sort of picking that up again.
I just wonder
That's
if that
awesome.
will, like, if you'll notice a change.
Right. Yeah, I haven't stepped back into the Hollywood system yet. We'll see. We'll see what happens
Yeah.
there. We'll see. But I mean,
Mhm.
I'm going to have to change. I'm sure that there's going to be certain things that are shut down to me now. But that's why it's important. I love making music, and I love, whatever film it is, and I love making my own music, which has been really well received. So yeah, it'll work out. It always does.
And that's unfortunate if things are shut down to you in any way, like, because it used to be that wasn't the case. I mean,
Right.
because we're old enough to remember. You're a lot younger than us, I think, but we're old enough to remember when you could talk about politics and you could, have a life, and nobody gave a crap what you thought about this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It wasn't so insane like it is now, and you could just have a career, and people weren't trying to cancel you or squelch your career or just ruin what you do best. And you're a musician. This is what you do.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
they shouldn't be doing that.
And you've experienced, I was just going to say, you've experienced being canceled with some major platforms. And that's got to be, it's been eye-opening for us. It's been amazing, especially in light of COVID, where you said that was a huge catalyst for your thinking. That's when it went crazy. So where have you been, where haven't you been banned from that people can still find you?
I've been banned from everywhere. I mean, my main thing now is it's really funny. It's the worst platform you would think for someone like me, and they just banned. I had a big TikTok that they banned. I mean, they banned me like 4 times on TikTok, and the last time,
my God,
it seems like it's permanent, and it was like nearly 1 million, and that's done.
China hates you,
right,
Stephen.
Yeah.
China really hates you.
But I started another one last week, and I love TikTok Live. I just love it. I don't know why. I just really enjoy TikTok Live, and it always is hugely popular, and that's the place where I feel like that's the place where a lot of people find me. So I started a new one last week, and it's already like 55,000. Like, it's grown super quick. So I mean, I love TikTok. Rumble's great, and Instagram. Instagram's always been.
You're on Instagram, yeah. That's where I follow you, is on Instagram, because I handle it. I love Instagram. So those are like the 3 main places that you are.
Yeah.
Those 3 main places.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're under the name Stephen Hilton, right?
All of them. Yeah.
Okay.
And
what's
all
next?
Right, that's where people can find you.
Other than creating
what are you doing?
more content,
What's next?
What's in the cards?
Yeah. So
and are you dating? I also want to know, are you dating?
I'm dating, but it's rough.
Okay.
It's rough. Oh
I
my
bet.
God. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Are you
it's
using the
changed.
apps, or are you doing it like,
No.
how are you doing it? No.
I can't
Okay.
do
You're
the
not
apps.
swiping.
I can't
You're
do
not
the apps.
swiping.
If I'm an addict, if I was on the apps, I'd be
Oh my
in my
gosh.
room all day long, just swiping. I can't do
Yeah.
it. I can't do it.
No.
Okay.
No.
But yeah, it's been crazy. So since the split up, I had like two sort of relationships, and it's crazy. It's just like I just got out of we were together for like 7 months, and I was like, 7 months, that's not gonna be. And it wasn't. I didn't even think of it as that serious. I was like, this is going to be easy to get over, but my God, I remember these sort of heartbreak spells of like being in short relationships and being heartbroken about it. But now I
Yeah.
remember it. But that's rough.
Yeah, dating.
Yeah.
And then what about professionally? What are you doing next professionally besides all the awesome stuff you got out there on socials?
So I'm making an album right now because that's a good way to reintroduce myself back into film music. That's how I got started. I fell into films by accident from making records. So I'm making a record not to get back into film. I'm just making a record because I want to, and that's going to be out early next year.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm running a production company, and yeah, it's exciting. I like sometimes when things sort of, I like to just sort of give it up to God sometimes and just go, you know what? I don't know what's next. Let's just see, because it's always worked out.
That's
for me.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for being with
Thank
us. It was
you.
really, really fun to talk to you.
Yeah, I loved
Yes.
it.